Listen, you gotta do the stand-up show. But I'm nervous. You trying to get to Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And you a fucking star, right?
Yeah.
And people love your fucking content, right? Right! And you love to perform, right? You were dancing on stage, right? Yes! So then merge the two. Perform and make people laugh. Get the fuck out there and do it. You right, girl. You never lie. Be on your Nike shit. Just fucking do it. I'm gonna do it!
That's right, bitch. We out here. This Saturday, catch me at Central Park, Bethesda Terrace, 11:30 a.m. It's gonna be lit. This is gonna be my first stand-up show. So when I get my Netflix special, you're gonna wanna be like, oh, yo, I saw this bitch on her first stand-up show. You know what I'm saying? So
how's everybody doing today? It's the Proof in the Pudding podcast show, and I go by the name of Sion 919. I'm definitely excited about today's show. As y'all just seen, she got a big show coming up, doing big things. So y'all get to see her first. So without any further ado, let's bring slaybyjas. She goes by the name of Jasmine. How you feeling today?
What's up, Sion 919? We out here. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. You're doing a lot of things. So let's talk about the show tomorrow. What can the people expect tomorrow?
Tomorrow. All right. So this is my first stand-up show, and I'm really excited. You know, I'm putting myself out there doing something different. It's something I've thought about for a while. And a lot of people have told me, like, oh, yo, you should do stand-up. Like, you're really funny. And I've never thought about it. But as I've been writing a lot more recently, I was like, I'm on my Nike shit. I just gotta fucking do it. So I'm gonna just do it. So for anyone that's coming through, you can expect a lot of uncensored realness. So a lot of shit that I normally wouldn't say online, I will probably stay in the stand-up. I really like to curate my image online. I don't want to do anything too risky, but in stand-up, it's like I feel like very uncensored, and I'm looking forward to it. It's also going to be live on my TikTok, so be sure to tune in if you can't hit up Central Park. But of course, in New York City, it's going to be a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day today, so pull up. I love Central Park. There's a lot of different creatives, and you know, I went last weekend, and that was like really inspired me. I was like, you know what? There's so many hustlers here. Like, I saw some people doing a Zumba class. Right across from that, people were doing jazz. A little bit further away, people were playing drums, selling their artwork. And I was like, I need to be here. Like, I'm going to come here. I'm bringing my hustle here. Wow. And so this week, I was like, you know what? I like decided on a win. I'm like, honestly, I'm just going to fucking do it. So we out here. You can expect a lot of uncensored realness and just honestly a good time.
Wow. And that's the thing right there. You're definitely creative. So let's talk about, how did you first get into the arts?
I feel like I've kind of always been creatively inclined since I was young. I've kind of danced forever. And I think I would say that's where things started, really, with dance. And then as, you know, time goes on, you know, I got older, went to college. I did dance throughout college. I just didn't have like enough social awareness to realize like, yo, this is my thing. I'm going to just go into this. Right. So I went through this whole stage of like creating online, like very passively. And then as time went on, I'm like, yo, like I want to take this seriously. Like, this is actually the thing that I want to be doing. So then I really started going hard in that. So it really kind of all started with dance, and then kind of just segued once video came out, like IG video. Once that like technology was actually available, I realized like I love being on video. I want to be on video. I want to be talking to people. And so I started to create like daily segments on my Instagram channel. So I would have I started with the Daily Dose of Slay, which is honestly like I just woke up and I would be feeling myself. So I'd grab my phone and be like, this is your daily dose of slay. You know, and people really liked it. They were like, yo, girl, like you killing me. You're killing me. Right. So then I started, you know, my basic bitch coffee segment where I would get this expensive coffee and pretend to be bougie. That couldn't keep that up for too long. So then I moved it over to my cart coffee, which is honestly, it's better because they actually put the milk and the sugar in for me. I don't need fucking Starbucks. They make you do it yourself. You know, I'm like, where's the service here? So yeah, I started with my daily Instagram segments, went into dance, and I experimented with long form video. I started to dance vlog on YouTube. And then COVID hit, quarantine hit, and I just went really hard on TikTok. You know, I had already had a TikTok, but I wasn't really going hard on it. And so once I like was furloughed from work and I had all this free time, I was like, I'm gonna go hard on this platform. Like I feel like this platform was made for me. You know, it's a lot of silly people, everybody's goofy, funny people winning. You know, not everybody can make it as an Instagram model, okay? But on TikTok, funny people winning. So I just went really hard on that, and I've been doing really good there since.
Okay, so let me ask you, when did you first realize that you were funny?
I kind of been making people like laugh forever, but I would say I realized it the most when I entered corporate America.
Right.
And I realized like my friends are funny. I have funny friends. Like I grew up in the projects in the Bronx, and honestly, everybody in the projects is fucking funny. Like, you know, like when you don't come from much, like you got to do something to keep life entertaining.
Right.
So everybody was funny. So I like kind of just grew up around a lot of funny people in general. And then like it's like once I got older, I went into corporate America and like different people, and I realized like people were like very low key, pretty ordinary, like nothing crazy. And I started to take people aback. Like people were taken aback, like, oh my God, you're quite entertaining, you know, or amusing, or like they were just shocked, I think, to have met a person like me. And I kind of noticed that. And I was like, I think I'm fucking funny. Like, I think I could do something with this.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I really saw my personality was unique once I was around more people that were not like myself. Versus, you know, when you're at school or at home, you're kind of like in an echo chamber, and there's not much diversity of like type of person.
Right.
Versus like once I got into work, it was like I was in a brand new environment.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you. You said you dance, right? So let me ask you, what were some of your early inspirations? Like, what first drew you to music and dance?
Music videos. Oh my God, music videos. I used to be a little girl. I used to watch every J-Lo music video. Like, I learned the dance, okay? Like when she was in Get Right, I learned that whole Get Right, and I would practice with my little umbrella. So I really love J-Lo. I really love Janet Jackson. Who else? Terry Ann Gibson. I used to watch Making the Band and Diddy, and like I love Terry Ann Gibson. I was like, oh my God, this girl's a good ass dancer. So like I guess I just watching a lot of different dancers like on TV. I used to watch music videos and be like, oh my God, I want to be that person. I want to be dancing. I want to be dancing. So yeah, that's what really started it off. Just music in general.
Okay, that makes sense. So let me ask you. Okay, so what part of dance do you like the most? Like what genre?
I love hip hop. Hip hop is definitely my favorite. I also do Latin styles. I do like salsa, bachata, merengue, and stuff like that. But hip hop is really my favorite. And I don't know. I really just like the beat. I like to catch a rhythm and just like have a good time with it. I feel like dance is like a very expressive thing you can do, and it's a mode of expression. And I really appreciate that. And you know, just being such an energetic person like myself, it feels good to like release all that energy like through a creative process like dance. It's very cathartic for me, and afterwards I like feel almost like at peace, like I got all that out. God, I feel good about myself. And then like I'm like kind of chill, and I'm not usually chill. I'm usually really hype. So yeah, I really like dance. It's like a way to like get all my creative energy out.
Okay, so do you choreograph as well?
I'm not really the best choreographer. I'm gonna be honest. And you know, it's crazy because growing up, I would always make my own dances. But after like years of not dancing, I kind of like lost my own. I would say I lost my creative voice in terms of dance specifically, because like when you're moving with your body, you're saying something. It's just like a body language instead. And I kind of like lost that as I got older because I was not as consistent with dance. So at this point, like dance has become more like a passion. It's not something like I'm striving for in terms of like a career. But yeah, I don't choreograph. But when I was younger, like I definitely really loved doing that. And I respect choreographers so much. Like that's really hard. And it's like, you really got to really trust and know yourself and have like total ownership over like who you are as a dancer.
Right. You definitely gotta have that confidence and stuff.
Gotta
like
have that confidence. You can't second guess yourself. If you second guess yourself, like it's not gonna happen. And there's times I'll freestyle in my mirror and be like, damn, that should look good. But then when it comes time to like actually choreograph something, I'm like, I don't got it. It's not my thing.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that. So let me ask, okay. All right, so over the years, dance has changed so much, different styles, different ways of dancing. Like, how did you make the transition getting back into it, and what challenges did you face?
Yeah, so for me, I got back into dance after a couple years of not dancing. So like I graduated from college, and then I worked for a year. After like working for 1 year, once that 1 year hit, I was like, this ain't it. So I started to do like a lot of creative things on Instagram. And then I was just like, I feel like something's still missing. And I realized, I really miss dance. So the way I got back into it was I took a class with Aunt Boogie at Broadway Dance Center. And so Aunt Boogie, he's like a very well-known dancer in the industry. Like he's one of the OGs. And he created Urban Dance League. So it's a dance company and they teach you through competition. Right. So I joined the program. And so we had like, it was like 8 or 9 weeks. And we learned a new choreography every week. And it was a different teacher every week. So we were getting like a lot of different styles, exposure to like different techniques. And that's how I really got back into it, through Urban Dance League with Aunt Boogie. And some of the challenges I faced were just being really rusty. And like, I would think in my head, I was like, oh, I killed that. And then I would watch the video. I'm like, who's that? Was that me? No way. So it was definitely a challenge being rusty. And also like the musicality, like trying to hear different like little beats, whether it was like a violin or a drum or something. Like there were a lot of times like I just couldn't hear it. And I had to like close my eyes and focus and like, finally I heard it. So like there were a lot of like just musicality challenges and really just like being rusty. Not that I don't have rhythm, because I have rhythm, but when you're trying to hit like a certain type of beat and a musicality that you can't even hear, like you're always going to look off beat if you can't even hear it. So that was definitely a big challenge that I had to overcome.
Okay, so I know it takes a lot out of the body. People think you're just dancing, but let's talk about, how much does it take and being in shape and keeping it up so you don't get tired.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes a lot. So in addition to dance, like I also work out, like I lift weights and stuff like that. So I use dance as like my cardio. And then when I'm in the gym, I'm doing weightlifting and stuff. So going hard, like dancing so much, like and weightlifting, like I really, really was having like no days off, because even on my days off, I'm like, well, I got to practice this dance because I have my performance coming up. I want to make sure that I do good. And so it's very tiring. Like you feel your knees start to ache. I'm like, oh my God, I got knee pain. I'm 28 years old. Oh no. I developed like this really bad hip problem because the hip problem came from honestly just having weak muscles around my hip area. So like my one hip muscle that was strong was like overcompensating for everything. Right. And through quarantine, when dance kind of like got canceled, like I continued dancing through online videos, and like I kept that going through like the entire summer. But at some point I was like, I gotta pause, and I really gotta like fix this problem that I have. So right now I'm super happy. I fixed the problem and no hip pain at all. Shout out to OPEC South Brooklyn, my gym and my coach Shani. So yeah, thankfully for that. But yeah, it could be very, very tolling on the body. And I wasn't even going that hard. Like if you're a professional dancer and you're dancing on a tour of Chris Brown or something, like you're dancing 8-10 hours a day, and then you have to go ice your knees and then practice when you get back to your room. So it could be a lot on the body. Definitely difficult.
Wow. Okay. So being in the competitions, like what are some of your best memories from the competitions when you were in the dance?
Yeah, so let's see. So I did so we call it games, right? Because we have 2 teams, and then so the way it works is like one person comes out from each team and they dance battle, but you don't really know what song is coming up. It's kind of like a mix. And so once you hear it, it's like, oh God. And then like whoever's next got to like jump in. And then they dance battle. And once it's over, you have like 3 judges that are going to judge you, and they score you, and we'll see who wins. So I would say my favorite memory was honestly my very first one. It was just like really invigorating to be back in the space again after like so many years not being in the space. So that was definitely like one of my favorite things. And all my friends had showed up and showed out for me. And I like got out there and it was like a roar of applause. And I was like, those are my girls right there. You know, I was doing my dance in my head like, oh, my friends are here. And it was like really nice.
Okay. So, all right. Then you said you were doing the Instagram as well. You had the Daily Dose of Slay.
Yes, I had the Daily Dose of Slay.
Okay. So let's
the
talk.
Daily Dose of Slay. What was the Daily Dose of Slay? Daily Dose of Slay was like my daily segment where I was just feeling myself. But that ended up turning into a podcast, which was crazy because when I first started like working, I was making a lot of friends and they were like, you should start a podcast. And this is like in 2016. And I'm like, I didn't know what a podcast was. It went in through one ear and out the other. I'm like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And then a year later in 2017, I'm like, yo, I keep hearing this. Let me start a podcast. Let me see what this is about. Right. So I ended up doing it for about 2 years. And so my podcast, it was just a comedic podcast. But as time went on, it kind of got more serious. You know, it started off like really funny. It was really short, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. And then by the end, episodes were like an hour and it was about like more serious topics. Like I spoke about the racial wealth gap. I spoke about just different like serious, important things going on in society versus when it first started, like I was cracking a lot of jokes or maybe talking about like celebrity funny stuff. And so I kind of like really changed that as time went on.
Okay. So let me ask you, what are some of your best memories during that time in your life?
Honestly, the hustle, the grind, like I was staying up till 2 a.m. to edit and then waking up at 6 a.m. to get ready to go to work and making sure I posted it on time. And I really appreciate being able to like put in the grind like that. And I think it builds like a lot of strength and I think it builds a lot of character. So I would say like that was like my fondest memory, just like realizing like, oh, I could do this. Like I could stay up late and edit this shit and I could go hard and I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep it going.
Wow. Okay. And you were doing it by yourself, self-taught, or did you have somebody?
I was doing it by everything was self-taught. I taught myself how to record, how to edit the audio. I bought all the equipment, Googled it myself, how to set up the whole thing. Anchor didn't exist. So it was like you had to figure out the RSS feed thing by yourself, which is honestly not that difficult. But like starting off, it's like, oh my God, what the RSS feed? Can you just why isn't there a simple 1, 2, 3 for this? And also just creating my graphic, having the photo shoot for it. So yeah, everything was like completely self-done. And you can kind of like see that like in the beginning, like the first, I don't even know how many, like the first quarter of the show, you could see is a lot more rough than like the very last episode, which was a lot more cleaned up. So there was definitely like a lot of growth and progression through that.
Okay. It may be somebody watching now on the playback. They may be interested in getting into podcasting. So can you touch on RS feeds and stuff like that real quick? And
Yeah, of course. So the way I did it was I uploaded my podcast to SoundCloud. So if you want to do the whole SoundCloud thing, you can only upload 5. So just get the SoundCloud Premium. It's $15 a month. And so I uploaded it to SoundCloud and then you go to Apple Podcasts. And then that's where I was able to like, you kind of submit your podcast, you submit the feed, which you can get once you upload to SoundCloud, you'll get like a RSS feed link in your settings. And then you can put that in like your Apple application to like submit your podcast. And then within like a few weeks, it should go through.
Okay.
And I got the Yeti mic. For anyone trying to start a podcast, I got the Yeti mic and I really like it.
Okay. And so the Yeti mic. What are some mistakes that people make?
Podcasting or in general?
Podcasting.
It's crazy because a lot of the podcasts, I don't listen to a lot of like upcoming podcasts. Like I've listened to like Jesus and Mero. I used to love The Daily. And now I kind of like listen to based on what I need at the moment. So I don't have too much experience knowing what people are messing up on, but I think something that is easy to make a mistake on is audio and just like the room that you record in. You know, in the beginning of my podcast, I was recording in like my big ass living room and it was my first apartment. There was nothing on the wall. Sound was bouncing all over the place, you know? And then at some point I was like, God, I'm just going to go in the closet. Like I recorded inside my closet just to like stop that echo from happening because that can be a little difficult to edit out if you don't know. Also just maybe look up some like sound editing classes. They're definitely online. So I think that's really important. Sound quality.
Okay. And I listened to a few of them on SoundCloud actually.
Yeah, nice.
You got a good voice for that. So you ever thought about like radio or something like that? Was this one of your dreams?
I've definitely thought about radio. And I like that idea, but I really want to be on video. You know, I think I mean I love talking regardless, but I definitely want to do something on video as well.
Okay, so when we say video, you talking about like a talk show, maybe, or
yes, or like I want my own Netflix show. That's what I'm going for. That's like my number one goal. I want my show on Netflix. I'm currently writing one. So maybe a talk show like sometime down the line. If I had a talk show, I would imagine it kind of like a Jimmy Fallon type show. I really love him. He's so funny. I also love SNL. Like I love sketch comedy. So I kind of would want like, this is like way later down the line. I would want something kind of like that to like merge the two. But the show I kind of have in my head like doesn't even exist yet. So I'm kind of just like paving my own way. But I really do want a show on TV.
Okay, and that's cool, right?
TV, Netflix, like on an app, not like real TV, cable TV. I don't know about that.
Right. Wow. Okay, so let me ask you, what are some comedians that you admire?
Oh my God. So I really love Steve Carell. I like he's like, oh, he has my heart. I love him. He's so funny. I really love Seth Rogen. Like anything Seth Rogen touches, like I'm laughing at. It's gonna fucking kill me. I'm cracking up. I've been listening recently to Judd Apatow. So I'm actually taking his masterclass. I have, for anyone that doesn't know what masterclass is, go get the app. Pay for the yearly rate. It's a couple $100, maybe a little bit under, but like you have so much access to like so many different types of people in different creative fields that you can like really learn from. It's like it becomes like having a mentor. So I've been listening to Judd Apatow. I really love him. I also love Louis C.K. Like anything Louis C.K. says, like I'm cracking up. It's funny. Like there's nothing I can do to not laugh. I think he's so funny. I love Will Smith, like, you know, a lot of like 90s TV show, that type of stuff too.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's dope.
And Seinfeld, I just started watching Seinfeld.
Like Seinfeld?
I know, just started. Like, girl, this movie is like from the 80s. This show is from the 80s. I know, but I just started watching it. And I'm like just cracking up the whole time. It's crazy because I used to think I didn't like the show. I had a friend that was like, Seinfeld is like the best show ever. I'm like, oh, I don't like that show. I had saw like one episode, so it didn't even count. I was just talking out my ass. But now that I'm watching it, I'm like obsessed.
Wow. Okay. What about movies and stuff like that down the road?
Movies down. I mean, I would definitely be down to like do some movies and act in some things. So yes, movies down the line, I'm with it.
What type of roles would you want to play?
What type of roles? That's interesting. I would say like I would want to be kind of like an Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. I think they're so funny. And like when I think of one, I instantly think of the other. I'm like, they're like the best friend queens of comedy out here. So I would want to do like some kind of like a funny role the way that they do.
Okay. So let me ask you, this is just thinking, if you could put together a comedy sketch, what are some artists or some comedians that you would like to collab with?
Definitely Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Definitely Seth Rogen and Steve Carell.
Wow.
Those are definitely my top four. And Mindy Kaling. I think Mindy's so funny. I love Mindy. Mindy for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Mindy for sure.
All right. So let's talk about TikTok, because you said during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
You say you had a little extra time now.
Yes.
So
yes. It was amazing.
Let's talk about the TikTok journey for you.
All right. So for the TikTok joint, right? So I created a TikTok around like, I think it was like November or December. And I would just like do a thing. I would do a thing, I don't know, and just throw it out there. And it was nothing crazy. And then once I got furloughed and COVID hit, I was like, let me see what this is about. I've kind of been touching upon it. And then I just started looking around and I'm like, wow, everyone here is funny. Like, this is where I want to be. And then I started like learning more about the effects. And I'm like, oh, like once I did it a few times and like really understood the whole how to make a TikTok, which it came very, very natural to me. Very natural to me. I feel like I've kind of been waiting for this platform without knowing I was waiting for this platform. So once it hit, I was just like, this is it. And I just started going hard. I started like following the trends. Like if this is popping, oh, okay, I'm gonna do my own rendition of that. And then I started to just create a lot of original content. Really hate copying content. Some people think that's what TikTok's for. That is not what TikTok is for. TikTok is to be original and to be creative. And there's a difference between copying content and having a trend and following a trend and doing a trend in your own unique, specific way. But yeah, I really love creating original content. And I started going hard on that. had all the time in the world. I started making dance videos and I started going live, and it just started picking up. It just started picking up, and people were really receptive to it.
That's what I was going to ask you next, because you got a nice following on TikTok.
So
when you first jumped out there, what were some of the responses you were getting?
It was like a lot of positive feedback. Like I hit like 20K in like the first 5 months. And even now, like the following I have now, like there were months that like from August to like November, I like didn't post. I like barely posted because I was like, whatever. Started working again. Things got really busy. I was like in a funk. But then once I started up again, like it's like the constant feedback just came back, and it was like very, very positive, receptive feedback. So I kind of feel like if it's like, if you have a talent and you want to create your videos, and if that's something you want to do, then just do it. And even if you take a break, some people are like, consistency is key, which it is. But if you do need a break for whatever reason, work, mental health, whatever it is, if this is your thing, you're going to come back and you come swinging hard, and you can make up for that time. So yeah, it was like really good. I had great receptive feedback. A lot of people thought it was funny. People shared it. And a lot of people just said it was very relatable, funny, and like that I said a lot of things that people think but don't say, which I have been told like so often throughout my life. So it felt really good to hear that like same feedback.
Okay. So where do you draw your inspiration from your comedy?
I want to say myself in a weird way. Like I kind of just think crazy, funny things on the daily. Like I'll complain about something. I find the inspiration from like asking yourself questions or noticing things about yourself. So if there's something that really bothers me, I notice, I'm like, oh my God, that really bothers me. Why the hell does that bother me? And that like will inspire, like that dislike for whatever that thing is will like inspire a funny video. Cause I'm like, well, I gotta talk about this shit because I'm annoyed. And if I'm annoyed, somebody else is annoyed. And we're throwing this out there. We're gonna talk about it. So yeah, it's kind of just like asking yourself questions like, what bothers you about yourself? Like what bothers you about the world? What do you love about the world? What do you think is weird about this? So just like really asking yourself questions and figuring out what is it that makes you tick. And what is it that make other people tick? Sometimes people will get mad about something or will be really excited about something, and I'm kind of like, what? And I'm like, you know, that's worthy to talk about because we are on total opposites, and I'm gonna talk about that. So yeah, I get my inspiration kind of just from daily life.
Right. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let me pick at your brain just a little bit to see how you get in your mind real quick. What are 3 things that's your pet peeves that tick you off?
3 things that tick me off. Messiness. I really, really hate messiness. Like, don't be messy. Socks on the floor, that really drives me crazy. I've been getting a lot better with it. But that like just drives me crazy. People not minding their business. Like, I don't understand people not minding their business in any way whatsoever. Like, especially when you just think of social justice issues. Right. 99.999% of issues could be resolved if people mind their business. Whether it's LGBTQ people having to defend themselves for fucking existing, that wouldn't be a problem if people mind their business because they're not doing anything to anybody else. Right. It's themselves. So mind your business. Right. Just an example. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand people not minding their business. And that ticks me off. When I see somebody not minding their business, which is kind of ironic because it makes me not mind my business because I'm like, but why are you not minding your business? You know what I mean? Super ironic. I know. I'm a hypocrite. And I would say the last thing that like really, really ticks me off, slow drivers.
Oh, wow.
I like, don't drive the speed limit and don't turn your car at 3 miles an hour. Turn it at 10, 12. Like, why are you slowing down? Like, when I'm driving, that really annoys me. Okay,
so it's a thing about New York drivers. So do you get road rage?
I'm kind of working on it. I don't yell at people and curse at people anymore, but like I honk my horn 100 times a day. So that's my road rage. If that counts, I'm honking my horn a lot. Wow. I've honked my horn on the highway, like, which is probably like socially unacceptable. But you're in the way left lane and you're going the speed limit. I'm sorry, move to the middle, move to the right lane, get out of my way.
Wow, so you're like a burp, or you push it?
I mean, I'll do a little ta, and if they don't respond, then I'm like, you know, it's like just, I don't know, 10 miles above. There's like a grace period.
Right. Wow. And that's the thing, like you're saying stuff that people think of all the time. So it's like, that's definitely real. So it's like,
Yes. I think relatable content wins. People want to feel connected, just like on a humanity level. Like the human species wants to be connected to each other. So putting out relatable content is like always gonna win. It's always gonna win.
That's a fact right there. So let me ask you, what were some of your best TikToks or something that meant the most to you? Some of the TikToks that you did.
So I had a TikTok. It was a series. It was like the first of my Jasmine show, which is just like whenever I do a series, I add it to like my Jasmine show on like IGTV. But like it's a series, and it was called the Quarantine Series. And I was like super depressed for a little while at quarantine. People wouldn't know because I was like making all these TikToks, but it was really just like getting me through the struggle because it was really hard for me. I'm super extroverted, and suddenly I was just like by myself all day, stuck in the house. And I've also just like had a very busy schedule.
Right.
So not just like having my world flip from like being super like explosive in terms of energy to being like a vacuum. Like, oh my God, it was devastating. So I made this thing called the Quarantine Series. And it was like about how I realized, if I'm having this problem, and then I started realizing a lot of people like began to have an existential crisis. Like, oh my God, like I'm in my house, right? Awesome, working from home, but this job fucking sucks. And that's something I realized like in 2016, 2017, a year after working, I was like, this ain't for me. But some people were having that realization and that awakening for the very first time. And I was like, you know what? Like I need to make a video about that awakening and realizing this job is not for me. And what am I going to do about it? And I wanted to like really put that out there in like a comedic way, but like also thought provoking. I didn't want to just like preach to the camera, like, okay, you need to do, you need to figure out what you're good at. You need to figure out what you like, figure out how you can make money. You need to monetize. Like, I didn't want to do all of that. Like in a preacher, I'm not a preacher. But I am a storyteller. So I was like, I'm going to tell this story in a good, funny video. So it was like a series of 6 episodes. It totaled it up to like 4 minutes. And yeah, it was like super funny. And it was just about like the struggle of like, fuck, I'm working this job that I hate. And what am I going to do to fix it?
Wow. You still remember it?
Oh my God, it was so funny. Yes, I remember it.
You know it right now?
Oh, like the whole script?
Not some of it. You don't have to do all of it.
Some of it. Yeah. So I'm like sitting at the table and it's like, is quarantine getting you down? And I'm like crying on the bed. And it was like, well, pick your, like, have you realized that without the social interactions and the social distractions, and it's like flashback to like happy hour. People love happy hour. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I've never been a fan of happy hour. I've done it a couple times, but it's not really my thing because I just like I'm really ambitious. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I should be out there grinding, hustling, working on my dreams. But not everybody's the same way. Totally fine. So it's like without happy hour and like the office environment, the regular like, how was your weekend? Right. You realize this actually fucking sucks. Like the only thing you loved about work were the people you worked with, like your friends at work or like hanging out after work. But it's like the actual work, like what? You're just there making other people rich, doing shit you don't want to do. So I like made a video about that, and I think it resonated with a lot of people. It got so much love, and I felt like really good about that because a lot of millennials are having this struggle, and we're not in it by ourselves. So many people are feeling the same thing, and it was like just a really nice way to unite people. And it was, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and I got like these flip flops on or something. Like it was like there's no boots, but I got some slippers, and like go to Slay University. And, I was giving you the tools of how to like not give a fuck about what anybody says and just do what it is that makes you happy.
And that's the thing right there. Laughter is medicine right there. So like, So like, even in the hard times, it's like laughter has a way of getting people through. But like you said a key thing right there. And I think Kevin Hart did a stand-up called Laugh at My Pain.
Yes.
Like you said, a lot of times you were having some dark days, but you putting smiles on other people's face.
Yeah.
How do you balance the two? Being the comedian and then the real life situations, because life doesn't stop.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like growing up, I've kind of like just, again, you grow up, whatever. When you grow up and like you don't have privilege, like you don't have a lot of money and there's not really much to do because you don't have a lot of money, you kind of just have to be fun, by yourself, whether it's like, you know, commentary on social things or whatever the hell is happening. So I kind of like always been making fun like with myself, you know, whether it's just bullshitting with my friends or whatever it is, talking on the phone, whatever, like just being able to like enjoy my own company and like being able to bring entertainment where like you may be bored and it doesn't exist. So balancing the two can be tough though, because like sometimes you get really down and it's like, oh, well, I really just don't have it in me to be funny right now. Like nothing's funny. I want to fight actually. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're like, I'm not trying to make jokes. But even in those moments, like, and when that happens, you know, I will take a hiatus from social and not post a lot. But even in those moments, like I find myself laughing about little things throughout the day, and I'll like table it for later. I'm like, oh, you know what? I laughed about that lemon squirting in my eye. You know what? I'm gonna make a joke about that whenever I'm back on my energy. Right. Get it back up. And then sometimes I'll return to it later and I'm like, honestly, the same energy is not there. And I don't have anything funny to say about that. Like inspiration is very fleeting, which is why like you really need to act on it like as soon as it happens. Like don't let it sit. Like if you're like in a creative moment, you got to just fucking do it. But balancing it is definitely like, there's no like one way to do it. It is a balancing act and you kind of just learn as you go.
Right. And with the pandemic, a lot of people they're suffering in silence. Some people going through anxiety, depression, you know, mental health issues and stuff like that. So anybody that might be watching, what advice would you give them?
You know, it's part of the human experience, like anxiety, depression, sadness, anger, like the full range of emotions is like part of the human experience. And, you know, quite often, and again, this is like different for everyone, but quite often I feel like you can change how you're feeling by changing your perspective. And this is something I did learn through quarantine. I actually found like Buddhism through quarantine, and I like started getting like more spiritual and like Buddhism, like very secular Buddhism at that. It's like a philosophy of life. Basically says that, you know, life in and of itself is suffering, but there's a path that you can do as a person to ease your own suffering. So like, don't want for things you don't have, like be grateful for what you do have, like very little things that you can work on to like help yourself through that, whether it's like gratitude journaling or meditating. I really love meditating. Or even if it's just like whatever you do to like clear your mind. Maybe you want to go sit outside in the park and like just look at nature, be in nature. There's definitely ways like through anxiety and depression, but like first, I think baseline, it starts with like understanding that is normal. A lot of people go through it, and you have to like force yourself to like shift your perspective. If you're like, damn, you know, I don't know, my living situation or my job situation, like, okay, well, what can I be grateful for? And what steps can I take like each day to making it better? Because 1% change every day compounds. You know, like if you're going on a straight line and you're headed to, I don't fucking know, a volcano and you're about to die at the end. But if you like have 365 days, okay, I'm lying, 180 days before you get there. If you change 1 degree a day, by 180 days, you're not hitting the volcano. You're going the opposite direction because that compounds over time. And so you need to be patient with yourself and tell yourself like a little bit of change every day is all it takes. Kind of like going to the gym.
Wow. And that's the thing. You just said a powerful thing right there, because a lot of times we get caught up and distracted with the rat race. We get caught up with, I got to have this, keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stress, social media, you see all these exaggerated lifestyles. You turn on the TV, everything's exaggerated. Now we start looking at ourselves and we're comparing real life to like Hollywood or shows.
Yeah.
So now we get depressed. I don't have the car they got. I don't have the perfect relationship. Blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yep.
But like you said, being grateful for the things that you do have. So it's like when you change your perspective, and it's like, again, minding your own business. It's like you're looking at what everybody else is doing, and now you're depressed because I can't keep business.
You see what I mean? A lot of problems will be resolved if people mind their business. And it's so true. Everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses, but when people like, I don't know if it's because they don't want to believe it, but everybody's out here fronting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why like real recognize real. And I think that's why, being authenticity always wins. And I think that's why I win so much on TikTok, because authenticity wins and people appreciate that. And I'm not out here fronting. I'm not out here. I don't have a lot of money. Like, that's not happening. I'm not out here flexing shit that I don't have, or that I put on fucking layaway, or on fucking Klarna, where I'm paying it 3 years down the road because it's 100 payments of $2. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do shit and they are out here flexing when they don't even have a lot to flex, and like, that's like a statistical fact. Most people live check to check. Like, that is like a thing. You know what I'm saying? And, just look at the way wealth is distributed in America. If you really want to like blow that out, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think people are just like, they don't want to own their truth because they're ashamed of their truth, because they're comparing to other people. But at the end of the day, everybody's lying, whether it's the Instagram makeup, people lie about their face. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really cannot compare yourself to anyone except for yourself. Also, everyone has a completely different life. Like, everyone has different experiences. Like, you are a result of all your experiences, and nobody is going to be exactly the same. So why even bother comparing yourself? Just run your own race, mind your business, look ahead. When Michael Phelps is swimming in the motherfucking pool, he's not looking over to the left, right, and behind him. He's going straight ahead and just worrying about himself. And that's why he's a GOAT.
That's facts right there. So let me ask you, okay, from the outside looking in, New York through the pandemic, let's talk about what was that experience like? Because in the beginning, it got pretty bad out there. How were you affected in the Bronx?
It's crazy. I like, aside from like being furloughed from my job, I really was not impacted. Like, quarantine actually helped my situation. Like, quarantine, I stopped spending money because I wasn't going into Manhattan every day. So I was saving mad money. I got out of debt entirely, minus like a few $1,000s from not credit card, student loan debt. But I'm paying that as slow as I can. I don't even care. But like, yeah, I was like, I got completely entirely out of debt. I was able to like start saving up again. It like really helped my financial situation. As far as like socially, it definitely hurt me. Like I said, I'm an extrovert. And yeah, it hurt me like mentally and socially, but like financially, it definitely helped. So yeah, it was a little tough. It was a little tough. Also, like, obviously it was just like a really bad summer, and like a lot of shit going on, with the whole George Floyd murder and the protests, and like just so much unrest. So that, I feel like that impacted like anyone that actually has a soul, fucking cares about people. So yeah, it was like a really weird, hard summer, and I kind of just try to like laugh and dance my way through it, and like stay in touch with the news. And then until that drove me crazy, and I'm like, honestly, no more news. Even to this day, like, I have not watched the news in months. I'll get my news from like little clips, but like, it's just, the human brain is not meant to take in that much information. And I think it's like pretty damaging. So I had to put a timeout on that. I was like, all right, time out.
It's bad news after bad news after bad news.
Yeah. And that's all the media is gonna highlight. They're not out here highlighting, good news like me. You're not highlighting my show out here, okay? But yeah, I say that as jokingly, to bring light to whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely real right there. So like you said, even on your show, y'all touched on a lot of real topics on your show. You talked about real estate on one podcast. Y'all were talking about how it's different, depending on losing money. One might lose 10%, but the other person might lose 30 or 40. You remember what I'm talking about?
Which podcast was that? Was it the racial wealth gap one?
The racial wealth gap.
The racial wealth gap. Yeah, so I can't remember the entire podcast. I know that was like an hour long. But yeah, I appreciate talking about like serious issues. I like talking about politics. I like talking about social issues. I've thought about going into like that field of work. But I don't think like that's like where I want to be, just for like my own mental thing. And I think it takes like a lot of strength to do that, to like be stuck in that world day after day. Like you have to have like a really thick skin. You have to be very emotionally, mentally strong and patient and be able to keep it together. And I just don't feel like I'm there. Maybe one day in the future. But yeah, I really do like talking about social things. And I really did I think that racial wealth gap is like one of my favorite podcast episodes because, I saw this document. It's like a very short documentary, but like it was so like eye opening. And I've actually been learning a little bit more about this. I saw something about it recently. Just about like the disadvantages between like Black and white people in terms of, you know, where you live and like why does this gap even exist? And like there's like such a strong history behind it. And it's like, well, when someone has a 400-year head start, like obviously there's going to be a gap existing, you know, and then it's a lot more than like pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Like, no, like there's so many people that have to go through and persevere through generational trauma. Meanwhile, you have other people that are like, they're doing great through generational privilege. So there's like a huge gap. And like, I really appreciated like learning more about why.
Wow. That's the thing right there. And I definitely got sucked into the podcast because y'all was keeping it real and y'all was giving a lot of good information. So let me ask you, with the state of the world right now, right? Politics, we got the Congress and all this stuff going against each other. The world is in a wreck. What's your take on it all?
Oh, I mean, all right. So the way I see a lot of things is like, I like the most simplest terms. You have some people, you have conservatives and progressives. Right. You're one or the other. If you're somewhere in the middle, okay, you're somewhere in the middle and you're bipartisan. If you're bipartisan, I'm not mad at you. Go do your thing. I really do have beef with conservatives though, because I don't understand what they're trying to conserve. Like life and like the world in general is constantly getting better. We have more technology now than we do before. You know, we have like, oh God, I don't know why technology is the only thing better. We have less war, despite the fact having wars. Like you go back and past, like wars used to be like everyday thing. You're never not in war. And like nowadays, like despite all the craze and war and chaos that you might see out there, like in the grand scheme of humanity, of total recorded history so far, we are actually in the best phase of humanity. So I'm not sure who or what people are trying to conserve. It doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't get it. So I think like politically speaking, there's a big issue because some people want to move forward, as I believe it should be, and some people are like, no, we need to conserve and stay traditional to whatever values they may have. And I don't think that's the way to do things. So I think that's really what the divide is. Also, I think that there's a lot of old people in government. I think they all need to get the hell out. We have too many dinosaurs in government. Like, it's a different world. If you were born before the cell phone was created, we do not need you making the laws. Like, you need to keep it moving and get up out of here. Like, bring some new young people in. Like, let them make the world that they are going to actually have to live in. All these old people, they're not going to have to live in this world. What? They're all going to kick the bucket in what, 20 years? So how about you get some young people into government? But then, you know, that becomes its own thing. You know, people are not incentivized to go into government because, I mean, it seems pretty chaotic. I don't think they pay a lot of money, you know? And so you have to like really be a public servant, like at your core, to want to go into government. And sadly, I don't think we have enough public service in government. And of course, I'm biased. Everyone has their own bias. But I think we need more public servants. And if we did have that, then like the public would be a lot better off.
Okay, and I definitely agree with you, and that's a fair statement right there. So let me ask you, with the programming, right, with the messages on the media and the music and stuff like that, do you think that has an influence on Black and brown communities?
Programming in the media?
Yes.
For sure. I mean, the media could always do better at, you know, portraying Black people, Latino people, just people of color in general, whether it's like the roles they're casted for or whether it's like how much influence they have behind the screen. You know, I get really mad when you see diversity in front of the screen and no diversity behind it. That's definitely a problem. And I think like the more we get people of color behind the scenes, the more content we will have that more accurately portrays people of color in every aspect. So I just think like the answer of that is like, you know, adding more people with the voice so that they can create the content that is going to accurately represent their communities.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real right there.
That's real.
All right, so let's talk about Netflix, because you're coming for Netflix.
I'm coming for Netflix. Mark my words.
And I'm definitely excited about that, because like you have a passion. Like, when did the light bulb go off and say, you know what, this is where I need to be?
Yeah. Okay. So when did the white light bulb go off on Netflix? Okay. So I've kind of like wanted my own show for a while now. And I started to, I went on YouTube and I started to watch Issa Rae's Awkward Black Girl.
Okay.
And it was so funny to me. And this was made like, I don't know, like 8-9 years ago or something like that. It was so funny to me. And I was mad I didn't see it when it was first coming out. I'm like, damn, this is a really funny show. So then I started learning about Issa Rae. And so in learning about Issa Rae, I'm like, pause. I'm like, this girl had her own show idea. She made her own show on YouTube. And that ended up garnering her enough attention to catch HBO's attention. And then she went and took her show and just made a way better version of the same concept for HBO. And that was just like, boom. And so when I got Masterclass, like Issa Rae was like the first Masterclass I actually watched. Because I just like, she really, really inspired me. And, you know, she was saying like, listen, if there's something you want to see on TV that doesn't exist, like you need to go out there and make it. Like, I was really mad that there was no Awkward Black Girl on TV. You know, she spoke about like the moment that she read like this article. It was like, where's the black version of Tina Fey's like character in 30 Rock? I haven't seen 30 Rock yet, but I should probably take a look at it. But apparently like Tina Fey's character in 30 Rock is like kind of awkward and, you know, kind of going through all these situations. And she was like, Issa Rae was like, well, I'm that character. Like, I wrote that character and I need to hurry up and get my ass and do this before somebody else writes it and puts it on TV. And so like she really inspired me. And then it clicked. I was like, no, like I want to write something that I actually want to see on TV, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna pitch it to Netflix. So that's what I'm doing. I'm writing it.
It's definitely gonna happen. So that's the thing, right? People have these ideas, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, they have the ideas up here. They don't act on them. They don't
Right.
write them down. They just, you know, it's just $1 million ideas.
A lot
Some
of people have it. Yep, $1 million ideas is rampant.
Right. And then some people, they don't know how to start. They have it up here. You just said you took Masterclass. Let's talk about the work that it takes to get the script ready, to pitch it and stuff like that, because some people may have the idea but not know where to start. So could you help them out?
Yeah, so you have to start. You just have to start. I know that sounds super cliche, but I started on Masterclass. So I would say, you know, start by learning from people who already did what you want to do. So Issa Rae did what I want to do. Like, she wrote her own show and she got her own TV show on the big screen on HBO. So learn from those people. It's really hard finding a mentor. Like, it's really hard to find a mentor. And a lot of people are busy, and people that are grinding and out there hustling, like they don't have time to provide mentorship. So when you have like an actual resource that you can utilize to get that information, then you need to take advantage of it, and you have to actively seek it out. So I actively sought it out, and I learned from Issa Rae, and I listened to what she did, and I was like, oh, you know, like that's actually like very applicable. You know, she even gave homework, like, you know, find 3 things and write a story about it. You know, it could be a chair. Write a funny story about that chair. You want to be a writer, right? So go write about that story. Or even something as simple as like write every day, you know. And Judd Apatow, I listened to him, and he was like, listen, when you have writer's block, you sit down on your computer and you just start writing anything. I don't know what to write. My carpet is blue. And then eventually, like, those thoughts will just ping pong, and you will get a thought and you will write it down. And everyone has like a different creative process, but I think word vomiting on the page is like a really good creative process for me. And I think it works for a lot of other people too. Also, like figuring out like how do you get into flow? This is something I'm still working on today. But in order to start, you want to like be in an environment that allows you to start. So whether it's like putting on some, I don't know, some type of jazz music to focus, or lighting a candle, or having your coffee and tea, or whatever it is like you need to do, like you need to figure it out. And, you know, I also listened to Lily Singh's audiobook like several times. Wow. And Lily Singh, another one, started on YouTube, got her own show. And she speaks about like scheduling inspiration. Like when you want to start something, it can be really hard. And she'll schedule inspiration by saying, you know, I'm going to watch an interview of this person who might be someone she admires that has done what she's done. And Issa Rae schedules procrastination. She has a day that she schedules in her week. This is the day I'm going to procrastinate, because she can't get through it. And like, she knows she has to procrastinate. So she's like, I'm just going to schedule it in. And you really need to just like you need to commit to yourself and say, I'm gonna fucking do this, and you need to do it, and just sit down and just do it. It's gonna be painful, it's gonna be awkward, it's gonna be really uncomfortable, but you need to believe in yourself, otherwise it's not gonna happen. Nobody's gonna believe in you enough to make you do something, but you need to believe in yourself enough to go and do it.
That's the thing right there. Adversity proves how much you want it. I hear you saying you did a lot of research, and even dance, you had to study. And writing, you got to study. To be a comedian, you studying. You're doing a lot of studying. Right?
I'm doing a lot of studying. I just got this thick ass book. It's like this big, and I'm like, I need to fill this up, you know. And I got that book because I was listening to masterclass, and you know, Judd Apatow was like, yeah, you know, I was working with, I forget the comedian's name. And he was like, but he had a book of just jokes, an entire book of jokes. And like, it might be like, he had an idea, like a mirror. He thinks mirrors like were funny. So it was just like, it just said mirror. And he was like writing all the things that could possibly be funny about a mirror. He's like, you know, maybe I'm having sex and the mirror's on the ceiling and it looks like I'm having sex with 50 women, you know, even if he never used the joke, he had like maybe a page of 50 ideas about the mirror, and maybe he'd take 2 and use it in his stand-up. So I think like it's important to study, and a lot of times people just want to do and show the world like, oh, I'm doing something, I'm creating something, but like a lot of times, like before you create, you need to like shut up and learn, and it could be uncomfortable learning because you just want to go do, you know.
Right. Nah, that's really real right there, and it takes a lot. Even some of the greats that we look at and that inspire us, it didn't just happen overnight for them.
No, it never happens overnight, and people think it does, and you know, when I get my Netflix show, I hope somebody does say it happened overnight, and I'll go drop a bomb on their ass, because that shit does not happen overnight. Like, you have to work every single day. And if you don't work and practice, like, you're not gonna do well. Right. What's her face? Damn it, she's mad funny. Damn, I'm blanking on her name. But I remember she went to Atlantic City and she did a show and she got like booed off stage. God, why am I blanking on her name? She has like the birthmark right here.
Tiffany Haddish?
Yes, Tiffany Haddish. Wow. Mad funny. But she got booed off stage once, and people interviewed her about it. Because I remember like hearing her, she was like, I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare. You don't prepare, you get fucked up and you get booed off stage, and no matter who you are. You suck, you suck. So I think like that even goes to say like, it don't matter like where you are. You always gotta practice, and you always gotta study and make sure you're learning.
Right. And that's the thing. So let me ask you. So once you get the show, stand up, right? Let's talk about stand up right quick. What's some places you would like to do stand up at around the world?
So I can't even say I want to do stand up around the world, because I never did stand up. So this is going to be my first stand up on Saturday. My Netflix show that I actually want to get, it's actually like it's hard to like put it in a category, because again, like it doesn't really exist yet, but it's a show that is going to follow the lives of like the life of obviously the main character. And like the whole purpose of the show is like to show duality of cultures. Like I want a character that has her foot in 2 cultures. And I want to show that, because I don't see a show that shows that. And there's also just not a lot of like Latin content in general. And if it is, it's all Mexican. I'm like, where's like the Dominican in New York, Puerto Rican in New York? Like, you know, like there's so many like different like other types of ethnicities. And yeah, I feel like you need to represent that. There's like first generation, second generation, third, like there's so many different ways to like put Latino content out there. And I kind of want to like have a show showing like my own story of just like being just Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and, you know, trying to make it and have your dreams, and like doing the whole college route. And like now you kind of have your foot in 2 cultures, because like you're from this place, but then like you've moved on to this place and they are nothing alike and they're diametrically opposed, and you're like doing the split over here, like, oh my God, it's exhausting. But like there's a beauty in that and juggling that duality. And I think like a lot of people have that story, and I have yet to see it on TV. So I'm really excited to do that. So no, it's not like a stand-up thing that I want to do on Netflix, but I do want to do like that show. And then one day down the line, I would like to do like a sketch, like SNL type show.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. So all right, so we got the show tomorrow, we got the Netflix coming. What else can the people look forward to?
All right, so tomorrow is going to be my practice, but next Sunday, I'm going to go to the open mic at Eastville Comedy Club on 627. I think it starts at 5 p.m. Or maybe 6. But I'm going to go at the Laughing Buddha. So you can look forward to that. And honestly, just more content. Like I really want to collaborate with other creatives in New York City. I've been collaborating with other creatives, and that's something that I want to continue. And yeah, I just want to continue getting better at my craft. I want to write more skits. Like it's important that I write and not just wing it all the time, because I want to like hone that skill and get better at that. And yeah, that's when you can expect just more content is not stopping, and it's only going to get better.
And that's the thing right there. And I'm definitely excited about it. So let me ask you, people that a lot of times people get started, they think improv, right? They just get up here and we're just funny.
Improv is hilarious.
But sometimes it's like it may not always work that way when it's like, so let's talk about the differences of writing the skit versus improv, because even with that, if you're not trained to do improv, you got people talking all over each other. You can't hear it. So even in that, it's still a structure in improv. So from the sketch shows you've seen, stuff like that, what are some things you learned?
I would say like I really like improv. That is like such a talent, and I really appreciate it. And it's crazy because once like I started like looking into like where can I do improv in the city, and it kind of stuck because like I started looking into that after COVID already happened. And I'm just like, oh, now I gotta wait until like everything opens up for me to like get that experience and get that exposure. But I really like improv, and I think it's really difficult. And I mean, I've only watched it, so I can't like say from like a one perspective of someone who has actually done it. But in watching it, because like I've gone on YouTube, I watched improv, and I think it's hilarious. But I think it's important to know when to go into the improv. Like you said, you have a lot of people talking over each other. And like, I think I actually listened to a podcast recently, and Tina Fey was on it. And she was like, you enter improv, like, you know, to speak when you're needed. Wow. Not when you want to go in, not when you have an idea, when the skit needs it. So you kind of have to look at it in a bigger perspective, I think, than just it's not you, it's the sketch that's happening. But yeah, I think improv is cool. I like writing, and I think the difference is like, you know, when you write, and this is something I'm experiencing right now as I prepare for tomorrow's show. Like I'll write something, like I said, word vomit on the paper. I'll look at it, I'll move things around, I'll like add a little funny thing here and there. And then like I'm reading it and I'm like, oh God, this is perfect. But as I'm like trying to remember it to say it, it's hard. Right. Because this was like a authentic train of thought that I had. And I will have the same thought as like I'm saying it, but it's not exactly as I wrote it. And I think that's something you get with time. Like, you know, like when Jerry Seinfeld is doing a stand-up, it may sound like he's winging it off his head, but he never is. Like all of that is written. The tone is already predetermined. The words, like everything about it is already written. So I think like that's like a level of mastery, and it's really difficult to get there. And it's difficult because, you know, as you're speaking it, I might even have a new train of thought. And then I look at my pager and be like, oh, damn, I took that skit in a completely different direction because I had a new train of thought that I improv'd instead of sticking to what I wrote. So I think I'm going to just have to like learn how to balance the two.
How to work it out both ways. So let's talk about how your writing style has changed over the years.
Yeah, I actually just started writing last year. So this is like really new for me. So yeah, I don't know. It hasn't changed. Like it's still developing. I'm still developing it. It's brand new. I'm still trying to find my voice. And like it depends on what it is. If it's stand up, I'm definitely trying to find my voice. Never even done it. In terms of like video creation for TikTok and stuff, like I definitely have my voice. I have my brand. I know what type of content that I like to put out there. So writing for that is like a bit easier. Like definitely like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do because I could picture the whole skit in my head. I could picture like the video, the angles, and all of that. Versus stand up, I don't know yet. I'm still finding that voice. Versus my Netflix show I'm writing, which I definitely have a voice that's very solid and secure. So it's like different things. The voice is at a different level of development in each creative endeavor.
Okay, so how do you prepare yourself? Because there are three different ways. There are three different lanes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you mentally prepare to get today I'm focusing on this one? What's your process?
Oh, it's really hard. What's my process? I still got to get that right. So I have this board, and I make sure like I need to post at least one form of content every day. Like I have to post. So one, sticking to your guns on that. Like today I have to post 3 types of content.
Wow.
It's a must. It's a must. I got to do it. So I would say, like, you know, setting goals that you can actually tick off and say, okay, I did that is really important. Also, like, being a creative, like sometimes I might think like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do XXX on my list. But maybe I wake up that day and I'm like super inspired to like do something completely different. So then I have to be able to like change up my schedule. Like, okay, instead of like working on the Netflix show and writing a stand-up and doing 1 video, like maybe I have all this energy and maybe I have 10 video ideas that I actually have time to do all 10. Maybe I'll just do all those 10 ideas and then do each one of these for like 30 minutes, even if it's a little bit, just to do something. But like being able to like change your day around and be flexible is really important, especially like, as I think like that's something all creatives could probably like have in common, because inspiration is fleeting. So when you have it, like you need to act on it ASAP.
Okay, so let me ask you, okay, a person might be a little older, right?
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is a new thing. It's a new platform, right? It's giving people a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may be older. They don't understand. They don't get it. Like, what's this? Y'all dancing, y'all doing different stuff. Let's talk about the benefits of TikTok and how that technology has opened doors for other people now.
Yeah, there's like a lot of benefits. And so first off, people are like really connected. People are connected now more than ever. Like the internet in and of itself, like internet, a net. Can you imagine a net? Like it's a whole gigantic connection. It's like a web. So like I think people are like a lot more connected in general because of tech. In terms of TikTok, not understanding it, if you don't understand it and you're not a creator, then you don't need to understand it. Just swipe on through, like away, double tap, and keep it moving.
Right.
Like if you want to be a creator and you don't understand it, then you can only understand it if you're curious. Like it's something you need to figure out. Like you cannot get frustrated learning a new platform. Like you need to want to learn that new platform and be like, yo, this is really interesting. Like I want to do this. I have questions. Okay, I'm gonna look at it. Oh, let me try this. Like you need to have fun. If you're not having fun doing it, then I don't understand why you're doing it. You know, like if you don't understand that, you will figure it out if it's fun to you.
That's
you know,
true.
it's kind of like that. It's kind of that's how I feel about that. So if you're not having fun and you're trying to understand it, like reading a book, maybe it's just not for you.
Right. And that's the thing. It's kind of like with the podcast. It's new for me. I've been doing this about 4 months, but I love it. So I'm always studying people, always trying to improve, watching tapes and stuff like that. So let me ask you, okay, how has TikTok changed your life?
How has TikTok changed my life? I would say it was like really... I would say it was the first time that like I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like put my entire self out there, like in every single way whatsoever. Like I had serious videos, I had funny videos, I had like videos looking really good, I had videos looking completely chopped. And yeah, I just think it was like a good introduction to like, not to say that I was not authentic before, but like owning my authenticity in a brand new way, because the platform had not existed before. So I couldn't really do it in that way. So now it's like I have a platform, I have all these features, I could do all these crazy things in videos. I could actually create what I see in my head and bring it to fruition. And that did not exist before. And I wasn't about to go buy a $500 camera and learn all the video shit. Like that wasn't what I was trying to do. But TikTok made it really easy to become like interested in actual video production. So yeah, I would say that's how it changed my life. It got me like really interested more in video production and like, oh, what's the angle for this? Oh, how do I fix this lighting? Oh, well, what's the story here? Like it made me go from like just making videos on a whim on Instagram, which was not as serious because I wasn't like studying anything. I was just doing something. But because of TikTok, it changed my life because now I'm studying shit. Like I've realized, okay, 1, I'm doing this and having fun. 2, I'm getting a following really fast.
Right.
3, this is clearly a skill that can be made better. Like I can practice this and I can hone that. And yeah, and that's when I actually realized, like, yo, this is the thing. I'm out here making videos. I'm gonna make my videos. Okay. And it just didn't hit as hard versus Instagram, you know, like on TikTok, that shit hit hard. And I was like, all right, it's changed my life for doing this.
Right. Okay. So all right, for the people that may be watching, how many followers do you have now?
I think 67,000.
67,000.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
So,
yes. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
yeah, that's the thing because like I think I may have 700 followers on
Honestly, I'm gonna be real though. 67,000 feels just like 700.
Wow.
Like it I don't understand when it gets to people's head. Like I'm never gonna understand that. So like every 10,000, every time I get like another 10,000, I like do I do like a thank you video. But like once the thank you video is done, it's like, okay, like life is fucking normal.
Right.
You know, I haven't done anything with it yet. So it can't get to your head. It feels the same exact way as 1,000 feels. And like I never set a follower goal. Like never. I never say like I want to gain this many followers because that's not what I'm doing. Right. I am working on my craft and I'm creating videos and I'm putting it out there. And of getting the following is like a reaction. It's like just like I'm thinking of the word. It starts with an S. Pause 1 second. I'm so sorry. I gotta get my charger.
Oh, no problem.
One second.
All right. And this is the Proof in the Pudding podcast show. And we're here with Slay with Jazz. She has a big show tomorrow at Central Park at 11:30. She's a host, entertainer, dancer, content creator. You've probably seen her on TikTok. You can follow her at SlayWithJas. And yo, she's back. Yo, definitely. I'm definitely excited about what she's doing. Got a lot going on. Big things.
Big things. You know, it's crazy because like everything feels big when you're like enjoying the process. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? It's like in whatever stage you're in, every new thing, you need to treat it like a big thing. Like I'm treating my tomorrow show as if I'm walking into a Netflix meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm taking it seriously and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. And like I'm just excited to do something new. And honestly, I'm expecting crickets, like no laughs. Like you need to go in expecting the worst so that like you're like, okay, whatever. It doesn't even matter. And regardless of whether or not people laugh, like I'm gonna laugh at my own jokes because I always laugh at my own jokes. Okay, I find myself entertaining. Like I create my content for me, and people happen to like it. You know what I mean? So I think if you really like do it for yourself and like you're having fun, that is just like the number one most important thing, and that's what's gonna make you win. That is authenticity. Versus sitting here thinking, well, what does my audience want to see? Like, don't create for other people. You need to create what you want to exist in the world.
Right.
You know, so I think that's really important. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. Let's go do this. I'm gonna put all this energy out there, and the more energy you put out there, the more energy like the universe will give back to you. And I know that sounds like really heebie-jeebie stuff, but like I think that is like so just law of nature reality.
Right. It's like the cause and effect.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So the thing is now you have a voice, right? You got a powerful voice. You got a platform, right? How important is keeping your creative control in your voice? Because a lot of times it's like when we get into the business, they want to put their hands in it. So how important is it to you keeping your creative control in your voice?
That's really important to me because I don't want to like stray from the thing that makes me me. You know what I'm saying? And I think in order to keep your creative voice, you need to like be really secure in what it is. You know, if you have like a lot of insecurity, then other people have an opportunity to get into your head. It's like having a crack in the window, like something's coming in through the crack. You know what I'm saying? You get a draft. There's a draft in here. And you know, you need to just be really solid in your vision and make sure that your vision is what you are creating, and you can't let anybody take that from you. So, you know, when the day comes, I get my Netflix show and I'm talking to all the executive producers and stuff, I need to make sure it's my vision being executed. And, you know, that makes me think of Issa Rae. Issa Rae, her very first time pitching Insecure, it was to another network. I'm not sure which one. Right. But they wanted to cast a well-known celebrity as like the lead role of the women in Insecure, Issa. And she was like, this person so clearly did not understand her show. Because if you did understand it, you would not have wanted to cast that celebrity because she's never going to be able to do that character. It's not that's not the character. And so she had to make a decision, like, do I pass up on this opportunity of getting my show on this screen because this person doesn't understand it? And she passed it up. And her reasoning was, what game am I playing that I only have one shot? Wow. That's not the game I'm playing. The game I'm playing, I'm taking many shots. Okay, it's not like you throw the ball and the rim, boom, everything's broken, done. No, you have more shots. So if the first shot don't work out, then it don't work out, and you keep it moving, and you get the next one and the next one. But you need to make sure you're going to stay true to your vision.
Wow, and that's the thing.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that moment to come up so that I could like stay true to my vision and be like, no, I want to say no to something. No, we got to do it this way.
Right, and it's gonna happen. That's the thing. You're mentally sharp, right? Like you said, going in there, knowing what you want, not compromising.
Yes.
They might dangle the millions of dollars. They may say, "Yo, we can make it happen." You can't be desperate. Don't be thirsty.
You can't be desperate. You got to be real to yourself, and you know, like obviously, like you. I'm not gonna say like don't compromise anything because you know there are a lot of people that know more than you. You know, like you walk in, like you're brand new. They're like, we've been in this business 30 years, like. You know, and like Issa Rae talks about that, about like taking people's suggestions into account and, you know, learning from the people around her. But in terms of like vision, like something like that example with the casting, a bad casting decision, you know, you have to stay true to your vision and be like, nah, that I know that that's not right for my story. So I think that's really important. And I'm looking forward to the day where I pitch my show and, you know, I can defend my vision because people are always going to try to pick it apart. That's the point. That's how you make things better, by trying to pick it apart. And so you need to know like where are the weak points and strong points. And I'm looking forward to that whole process and learning about that.
And it's going to happen. So let me ask you, what's your 5-year goal?
I don't have a 5-year goal. Every 5-year plan I've ever made in life went to shit. It's never gonna happen like that. Like if every person right now looks at themselves 5 years ago, like would you have thought that you would be in this spot? I don't know. Maybe some people say yes, but I'm gonna go on a whim and say most people probably say no. You know, I think a 5-year goal is good. Like, I don't know if you're in college or something like that, you know, but like when you're actually like in the damn thing doing it and you're leaning in, you just gotta like lean in, and you can't like worry for a million steps ahead. You have to worry about like the right now and like have set like a lot of short-term goals. Like I have a long-term goal. I'm gonna get my show on Netflix. It's my long-term goal. Everything else between here and there, I have no idea. I don't know if that's gonna take how many years it's gonna take. I don't know what it's gonna take. But yeah, my goal is to just get better at what I'm doing, and then whatever happens, happens. Because I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make something happen. I don't know what I'm gonna make happen yet. Well, no, time out. I do know what I'm going to make happen yet. I'm going to get my Netflix show. That's what I'm going to make happen. But as far as like 5-year plan, I don't think of time like that.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. So, okay, how would you want your legacy to be remembered?
That's a really good question. I think for me, I want to always be remembered as somebody that like brought lights and happiness to somebody's day. Like, yo, when you think of people like Bill Murray or Jim Carrey, or you know, think about like these like older comedians that like maybe I grew up watching, like, yo, like they just made people really happy, you know, they're so funny. And not to say that like I'm just a comedian, again, I can't be put in a box, but I want to be known for like just making people's life better. Whether it's like your life feels better because you're watching something I created, or maybe you know me and you're like, wow, honestly, just being her friend made life better. Like, no, she's a very good, positive ad, a positive force. I think that that's really important. And I also want to be remembered as like somebody that never gives up. You know, like there's like no giving up. Like giving up is way harder than trying. Right. That's like a Kanye line. And I like that shit hit hard. Like that giving up is way harder than trying. Like what happens if you give up? Like, that's it. Wherever you're at right now, you're kind of just going to go that average path. That's terrifying to me. Right. So I don't believe in giving up.
No, you can't give up. And you didn't came too far. You didn't came too far.
You came too far. And it's also like, why give up? Your life is gonna go on. You still have all these years regardless. So don't you think something would happen if you spent the next 10, 20 years trying to do this thing that you're doing versus 10, 20 years not trying? Like the answer is just never give up. And I think a lot of people that make it in life, that is the one thread of commonality. You don't give up.
You can't give up. Like you said, if you want it, you're gonna go get it. So is there anything that we might have missed that we didn't touch on yet that the people may need to know?
No, you know, share my shit. I post daily reminders, share my shit, help me get to Netflix. You know, people anyone watching, you could like help me make this happen. Like I'm rooting for me. I want you to root for me. Right. So help me, share it, share my stuff, post it on your page, send it to your mother, your brother, your sister, your grandmother, auntie, uncle, everybody and their moms. Send it out, and that's how shit happens. That's how shit happens. So, you know, thank you guys for watching, and thank you Sion 919 for having me on. I really loved our chat, and you're awesome. And good luck in podcasting. Like I think this is definitely something you're good at.
Oh, thanks.
It's been great talking.
Wow, I definitely appreciate that. So let me ask you, down the road, would you come back up here and give us an update on how things going?
Yo, for sure. Honestly, you had a lot of good questions. I've listened to podcasts before, and I'm like, God, this conversation is boring. Like, these questions ain't it, you know. And I listen to other ones, so I'm like, oh God, this is really good. And it was really good talking to you. So thank you so much. I definitely pop back. Give me some time. Once I got some stuff popping, we'll pop back in, give you a little update, and then, you know, when I get my Netflix show, we're gonna be on here.
All right, that'll work right there. That's the thing right there. And I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm definitely rooting for you. Anything I can do on my end to help promote or get the word out there, I definitely would do that. Let the people know where they can follow you at. I think I got it on the screen, correct?
You got it on the screen at slaybyjas on all platforms. TikTok and IG is my top 2 platforms. So go holler at me there and hit that follow. Thank you.
You got any shout outs before we sign off?
Oh, oh my God, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. I don't even know.
Shout out to all her supporters. Thank y'all
all my supporters.
Right.
Shout out to all my supporters. Shout out to everybody that believes in me. Shout out to people that have been like following me since like day one. Like I'm talking like 100 followers on any platform. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that shares my shit, and shout out to everybody that collaborates with me. You know, it's always a privilege to be able to just get more into the creative community. That's something I wanted to do a lot more. And it's like, I'm happy it's finally happening. So just shout out to all of that. Go to my page and check out some of the people I've collaborated with. They're really awesome. Mark Rain, Black Rose, Ken Stars, Ferris Wheel J. These are just a few people I've collaborated with, and yeah, it's been great, and I really appreciate that. I just love the creative community, and all that energy is really positive.
Okay, all right. I think we got a comment real quick before we get up out of
Yes, what we got?
Powerful.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed it.
All right, so that's the thing right there. So tomorrow, Central Park, 11:30.
Yes, Bethesda Terrace. It's by that bridge where they do all the movies and stuff. You know, you're probably going to see a bunch of people getting married there. It's like a thing. But I'm going to be out there giving my raunchy comedy while they're getting married. So pull up.
All right. And you said for those that may not be in New York, they can watch it on your TikTok.
Yes, TikTok Live. Go to my page and you can register. I have like a live event link. And so if you register, you'll get like the notification on your phone right before I go live. So yeah, hit on my page. It's going to be live and I'm really excited.
Okay, so how long is the set going to be? How long is this?
So I'm going to be live until my phone dies. I'll be live until my phone dies, but I'm starting at 11:30 and I want to be there until 2. So because people cycle in and out, you know, in Central Park, people are moving around a lot. I'm going to go through like my set. I'm thinking like multiple times. Okay. So I don't know how many times. And then some of that is going to be improv. Probably going to make fun of the audience at some point and pick on them. So it's just going to be like a good time all around, a little bit of structure, but a very loose structure.
Yeah. And I'm definitely excited for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations and good luck with everything, because I know it's going to happen. You've been putting in the work. You deserve it.
Yes.
Like this is your moment. It's just like the video said. You was dancing on that stage, weren't you?
Right? Right. Now you got to merge that shit. Throw that personality on that stage quick.
Right. So I'm definitely excited about that and looking forward to everything that you have coming up in the future. For me and the Proof, we definitely appreciate you coming through because, like, again, we're coming up podcast. So for you to come up there, it means a lot.
Thank you so much.
We definitely appreciate that.
I really appreciate you guys back.
Thank you. And everybody watching, we thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes,
if you've seen it on the playback, we definitely appreciate y'all. This is the Proof in the Pudding podcast show. And I go by the name of Sion 919. And this was our talented, multi-talented guest. And she goes by the name of Slaybyjas, Jasmine Ruiz. And we thank everybody for tuning in, and we love y'all. We out.
Thank you. Peace out, y'all.